Hi guys, it's Caribbean Bookworm, and today I wanted to talk about top 10 of my favorite horror movies based off of novels. By the way, these aren't like the best critically acclaimed movies, some of them are, but these are just my favorite movies, my favorite horror movies based off of novels that I've personally seen. So without further ado, here we go. Number 10 on my list is Carrie, both the original and the remake. For those who don't know the story about Carrie, Carrie is basically about this young girl at high school named Carrie, and she doesn't have the best of social lives. She discovers that she has this remarkable psychic ability, like in most Stephen King adaptations, and she's able to manipulate things with her mind alone. So things start to go her way until things turn for the worst, and those who've seen the original or who just know the story about Carrie know what I'm talking about without spoilers. Number 9 on my list is Rosemary's Baby, the 1968 version, and I've just saw this movie recently, about 4 days ago. It was a long movie, but it's basically about this woman named Rosemary coming to live in this new apartment with her partner, but she notices something strange about her neighbors, so she's so happy with her fiancé, and after a bizarre vision, Rosemary starts realizing things aren't exactly what they seem there. Number 8 on the list would be American Psycho, and this one, the movie, I would consider it a dark comedy since it's not really a horror movie. I mean, it has the horror movie aspects such as the serial killer, the blood, the gore, but it has a lot of dark comedy to it, so you can just watch it as a comedy, I would say, but if you don't have the sense of humor, then it's not really a comedy. But it stars Christian Bale, one of my favorite actors working today. It's about a CEO of a company. I think he's the CEO, and sooner than he'd expect, he starts realizing that he's acting these violent things that he's imagining in his mind. So, great movie, I recommend you watching it, but if you don't like dark comedy, then you might not get some of the humor, the undertone in the movie, and it may just seem like it's pointless violence, but there's enjoyment to be had in this movie if you go in with the right mindset. Number 7 on the list is the one that I can explain the least to you since I've watched this one a while ago, but I do remember enjoying it a lot, and it's I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I was surprised to find out that this was actually based off of a novel. There are 3 movies of this particular story, but I heard that it's a book based by the author Lois Duncan, and it's about a group of teenagers that went out night. They were on the road and they accidentally hit this car. No one was there to witness it, so they were able to cover up the murder until sometime later someone dressed up as a fisherman with a hook starts murdering them one by one and starts threatening them that he knows what they did last summer when they killed the man. Number 6 is World War Z, and I've just did a review for the book World War Z, my first book review, and the movie is completely different from the book. Well, except for some themes, but in general, the whole drive of the movie is way different from the book. The book is more of a documentary style, like post-World War type of like serious political book, and the movie is more of a summer blockbuster. That's what it is. It's even rated PG-13. Although, despite it being rated PG-13, there are some quite intense scenes in this movie. And this movie is basically about Brad Pitt, a father, and taking care of people during the zombie outbreak. There isn't much to be said there. Number 5 is surprisingly this year's It. And I love this adaptation of It. I've seen the miniseries, and to be honest, I found them a bit boring. But I liked this adaptation of It. It was very engaging. The child actors were amazing. They were the best part of the movie. And usually, child actors, you have to be very careful. You can't judge them, but they don't always have the best of performances. But these ones do, and they reminded me a lot of Stranger Things. I've only seen a couple of episodes from season 1 of Stranger Things, and I don't like to compare them, but it has quite a similar feeling. Or I could compare it to Stand By Me, which is also based off of a Stephen King novel. These children coming together and trying to figure out what this weird force of evil is that's provoking them with their fears and haunting them, and trying to come together to face their fears. That's what It is about. Bill Skarsgård, he did the role of Pennywise when It took the form of Pennywise tremendously as well. So I really recommend you watching this one. It's one of the best horror movies for me this year. Number 4 is a classic, and it's The Silence of the Lambs. And a lot of people don't know this, but there is a movie before The Silence of the Lambs, and it's called Manhunter. It's kind of based on the Red Dragon novel. The Silence of the Lambs is the more well-known Hannibal movie, and for good reasons. To sum it up, the movie is about a new FBI agent, Clary Starling, working on a case involving this killer which skins his victims. Now, this killer has some issues, if you haven't figured that out by now. So, Clarice seeks the help of famous psychiatrist Dr. Hannibal Lecter. But the issue with this is that Hannibal is known for getting into people's head, and Hannibal is not the type of person you'd want in your head, because he's also a famous criminal known for a special taste in food. All in all, The Silence of the Lambs is a intense psychological thriller. It has some gruesome moments as well, but if you like crime movies, The Silence of the Lambs it's a must-watch. Number 3 is the Candyman, which I'm sorry, this is also another one that I've seen a while ago. The same with I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I really can't remember this one well. I just remember though it was about a urban legend kind of scenario that these people start getting haunted by this figure called the Candyman, and whenever they say his name or something like that, he appears and kills them. And he also has a hook, ironically. But I'm really sorry with this one. I just can't tell you much about it, but I know it's one of the golden pillars of horror, and I remember it having a really eerie vibe to it, which kind of spooked me out as a kid. So it's one of the reasons why it's one of the most memorable horror movies on the top of my head right now. Number 2 is Lo de Rata Como In, translates to Let the Right One In. It's based off of a Swedish novel by the same name, and it's about a boy who doesn't have the best life in high school, such as a lot of these boys do apparently, and he has a new neighbor. Two new neighbors move in, and it's a dad and his little daughter. At least that's what you think she is. The thing he realizes is that these people only move at night, and they act weird. They act strangely. They don't know. Two new neighbors move in, and it's a dad and his little daughter. At least that's what you think she is. The thing he realizes is that these people only move at night, and they act weird. They act strangely. The boy tries to open up this girl to communicate and socialize, but this girl acts weird, and she comes out at night, and there's just something off about her. And around the same period, people start going missing, and most of them with almost no blood in their body, completely dried. So you guess where the story goes from there. You see, I don't want to spoil anymore. I just recommend you watching it. It is in Swedish though, if you're going for the Swedish version, which I do recommend you watching. So you just have to watch it with subtitles, but you can get used to that. But there's also the American version called Let Me In with Chloe Grace Moretz, the girl from the remake of Carrie. So if you want to just watch the remake, but And the first one on my list, which is unavoidable, is The Shining. Now, The Shining is well known for taking a lot of liberties from the Stephen King novel of the same name, but The Shining, hands down, is one of the best horror movies out there. And I can say that with a lot of confidence. Sure, it's outdated, but the acting in that movie, the cinematography, the work that went into that movie, the script, Jack Nicholson's performance, all that make this movie a buffet of horror. It has that psychological thriller element, it has that supernatural element, it has everything. The Shining is about a young boy named Danny going with his father and his mother to the Overlook Hotel to stay for the weekend or so. Jack gets a job offer to look over the Overlook Hotel and stay in with his family. But Danny seems to have a special ability. Danny can sense things that are not there, aka ghosts. So Danny has something which is called a shine, which is very popular in Stephen King books. So Danny starts to see these weird, different things in this hotel and starts to realize that this hotel is not the friendliest of places and that there is a dark force influencing this whole hotel. And slowly but surely, this dark presence starts influencing Danny's father, Jack, and Jack starts to slowly turn to insanity. The movie has a lot of memes based off of it, like here's Johnny. It's a must-see. I recommend you watching it, despite you thinking, oh, it's from 1980. It doesn't hold up as well. Really, watch The Shining. It's a masterpiece. So that's it for my video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry that I couldn't talk longer because my battery is dying. But I hope you enjoyed the insight into my favorite horror movies and hope you got some ideas of horror movies to watch like whenever you want. Because you don't just have to see horror movies on Halloween. You can watch them at Christmas. Anytime's good for horror movies. Just find the time, don't procrastinate on your work, school, or whatever, and just enjoy some damn good horror movie. That's it for today, guys, and bye.